have your clients book appointments online and make full payments using the online booking form that will be available in your settings, which you could insert into your website. Here we have the booking appointment form for our test account with the top filled out. We will complete the rest by selecting an assessment here. You can see that the preset date availability for the clinician is showing here, something that they configured in their portal. We'll select just the first appointment that's available and then go down and provide the consent for each of these checkboxes. And from here, we will submit the form. The settings allow you to collect either a deposit or the full payment or no payment at all. It's currently set up to accept the full payment, so this takes us to the checkout, and in this case we can put in a credit card number, just a fiction one. All right, and that completes the form. And now we can submit this, and once the payment transaction is complete, it takes us to this confirmation page that assures that the clinic received the funds and that the appointment was booked. So then going back to the calendar, we are now in a new week. So if we go forward, we could see this new appointment has been created in the clinician's calendar. And by clicking here, you could see that the appointment was charged and it was fully paid. You can click on certain information here, such as you can refund the payments. You could open the timesheet where this transaction resides. From here, you could also add other information, such as linking this to the client that already exists in the system. In this case, by clicking that, it'll link the two. And then you would select the account here. If there's an order timesheet available, that would show up here, but in this case it's going to create a new order or account because it's a new service and a new client. It already identified it as an assessment, the time is there, and then we're just going to confirm this. So once these come in, you just complete these final steps and then click on confirm, and then once we save this, it turns into a confirmed appointment color. And you'll see that it will automatically send an automatic email 24 hours prior to the appointment to remind the parents. The texting is a feature that will be provided very soon so that the parents could also receive a text prior to the appointment within a designated time. So this is it requires to complete the appointment. The settings for that are located over here under Organization Settings, where we could see the Payment tab. And this is where you would set up the account with Stripe that will handle the transactions with TheraMatic. So once the payments go through, it will go into the Stripe account. You can click on Manage Stripe Account here to view all of the transactions. In this case, you could see the new appointment and the collected funds for that. And you would also then set up your personal bank account and have periodic transfers automatically take place between this Stripe account and your bank account. So this is where you would configure your payments. From here, you could also decide whether you want to have a certain percentage paid as a deposit, whether you would like Stripe to hold the customer's credit card so that they could more easily make payments in the future. You could also apply different expense fees, such as a no-show fee or a late cancel fee. You could edit the information within there that will be displayed on the booking form. And you could also decide whether you want to accept a full payment and whether you want to require that full payment while completing the form. So you could say these are all completed over here. So those are the configurations for receiving payments. Now going back to the top of the form, you set your fees over here. So by clicking into this button, you will see all of the different services tied to different fees. You could also customize the fees by clinician. So if some clinicians charge a varied fee, perhaps because they're more experienced or they are senior staff, or perhaps they're lower credentialed, then you can have varied fees for each clinician, and the system will automatically know based on the clinician that was selected during booking which fee to apply to the service. Now we could return to the calendar view where we could look at a few more features. Going to the previous week, there are also intake forms that could be required. When a user receives their confirmed email, in that email they will have a link that they can click to view the various documents they should complete, such as an intake form or a consent form. This would automatically be submitted. You can see in this case here for this client, the intake form was completed and the summaries are provided at the bottom for these intake forms, including their response to any questions and their submission of a consent form. Now, these forms can be changed again under the organization settings, and in this case under the calendar. And here we have intake and consent templates. This is where you could add a template, and these templates could be edited, and it includes the messages, questions that the client should be answering, and whether they're required or not before submitting the form. Once those templates are set up, then you would apply those templates to your appointment types. So by clicking in here, you can then say which consent forms are required for each of those. Perhaps you might not necessarily need the consent forms for both for each service, so it's customizable for each one. These are the appointment types that will appear in the drop-down in the online booking that clients are going to select to create those appointments. Now in the next tab, we can see practitioner availability, and this is where the administrators of the account could see the practitioner availability for any clinician. And so the clinician, they could create the availability here for the clinician, or the clinician could go into their profile and they can change their availability themselves by creating new time slots available for appointments. So if we go back to the organization management page, that's where a clinician would set up their availability for online booking. Here there are a few booking settings to look at, where we might want to have some restrictions on when a client could book online. And in this case, you would select the earliest and the latest appointment slots. You may want prep time. Instead of having appointments booked within hours, you perhaps only want them to appear one day ahead of time to prepare for them. And you also might want to have a maximum where you can't assure that the appointment will be available in 90 days, for example. This is where you would set whether you want the clients to self-book. In this case, if it's a tentative appointment, which is what it's showing, it shows that faded yellow box, which calls on the clinic to review the appointment and then confirm it once they've made sure that all of the settings or the criteria are met. You could have it show as simply a request only, and in this case, when the appointment comes in, it will appear right at the top of the calendar where the request will show with a badge showing how many new requests have come in. Then from there, the clinic can look at the requests and they could manually insert those appointments. So there's different ways of automation here, and you can select the one that is most suitable for you. The preview will show you what that booking appointment will look like. So once you've configured those settings and you click through here, you could see what that will look like here. The booking page link is just actually at the bottom of this settings page. So in this case, you can see that the person would select this link, and then you'd incorporate that into your website so that that page is available with a button or as a tab in your web page so that your clients can book those appointments. So then going down a little bit further here through the settings, we have reminder default. So this is where you would set how much time before the reminder is submitted. You might want it to be automatic or manual. In this case, we've got it set as automatic. You could add additional information, and then you could include the cancel reschedule request link in the reminder email, and that also includes actually the request to complete any intake forms like I just described earlier. Once you've done that, you can click on the preview and you could see what this preview looks like, which is the email that the client will receive once they've submitted the appointment that has been booked. So from there, we are still working on SMS notification. This is sort of a test mode that's going to be refined and provided sometime in the summer of 2026. Now, beyond that, we can go down to the calendar sync, where you will be able to sync the calendar with your Gmail or Outlook or Apple Calendar and see any new appointments that are coming in from there. And there are just some sync steps that are required to make that happen, but that's what that looks like. The booking readiness and booking intelligence essentially tells you what settings are in place and if any need attention. And then from here, the booking intelligence tells you essentially the status of various booking types. And so this is more for administrators to maybe get a sense of how bookings are successfully coming through and to what degree they're coming through automatically or manually, etc. So that's pretty much the calendar settings there. And to go back to the calendar, simply click on the calendar icon at the top, navigate back and forth with those views. You can look at the week, the work week, the day. If we go to a previous day that has activities, and then you could also look at the agenda, and the agenda shows all of the activities as well. I did want to also note that the appointments do show whether an appointment has completed, the client has completed the intake forms or not, right within the page. You can right click to provide various actions here. The other thing I wanted to show actually is once the appointments are complete, there's also a payment history tab, and by clicking on that, you could see all of the latest appointments excluding the one that was just recently submitted that we saw was there in the Stripe account. However, this is going to sync after a short delay. So you could see that in our mock account, we have received various cancellation fees, full payments, and also refunds. Refunds are a very simple process where, well, before we get to the refunds, you can see that you can filter these by all kinds of categories. So if you want to just see your refunds, or whether you want to see, late cancellation fees, these are all customizable. You can also look at various transaction types. So if it was a cash transaction or a Stripe, you can see those appear that way. So various ways of filtering and viewing your information. You can also export this. You can copy a summary of these things. So all these details are here and accessible and filtered in a very convenient way. So going back to the refunds, it's a simple matter of either going into the appointment, and you can say that you want to cancel the appointment, and if it's canceled, then the refund will be automatically applied, or you can click into it and then you can say refund payment, and by clicking that, it's just going to give a summary that the full payment is going to be refunded to Stripe, and they are going to reimburse the client's credit card. So yeah, by clicking on that, that's what that will do. I did mention the requests earlier, how if the setting is set up as a request, then the button here shows that there are 4 requests waiting, and in this case, the clinic would have to review the time and day requests and then book the client, and then once they approve it, the client will automatically have an email that will inform them that the appointment has been scheduled. So it's just another step if somebody wanted to be a little bit more involved manually in the bookings. That's certainly a way that one could set up that calendar booking system. So I think that covers most of the important things. There are other things here that one could discover through working through this. As far as using it, it's fairly intuitive. The side panel opens up. You can complete the information in the side panel, click on the appointments. All of the information related to the client is in the side panel here. You can edit and save any changed details, and it allows you to quickly fill your schedule up and focus on providing services to your clients. So that will conclude the appointments and calendar as well as payments system.